This farm belongs to us now." My mother-in-law's voice crackled through the phone, dripping with satisfaction. "We've changed all the locks, and you can forget about ever stepping foot on this land again." I stood in my kitchen, gripping my coffee mug so hard my knuckles turned white. Through the window, the city skyline seemed a world away from the sprawling farmland I'd grown up on. "The property isn't yours to take, Diana," I replied, keeping my voice steady despite the anger bubbling inside me. "My name is Olivia Parker, and at 32, I was listening to my mother-in-law steal my family's legacy. The 300-acre farm had been in my family for 4 generations, and now, barely 3 months after my grandfather's passing, Diana thought she could simply claim it as her own. "Oh, but it is," she sneered. "The new deed is already filed. Your grandfather left everything to Michael, my precious son. You're just the farmer's granddaughter who got lucky enough to marry into our family. Did you really think you'd inherit anything?" I closed my eyes, remembering last summer's evening when Grandpa had called me out to the old oak tree. His eyes had twinkled with that familiar mischievous glint as he pressed a small brass key into my palm. "There's more to this land than meets the eye, Liv," he'd whispered. "When the time comes, you'll know what to do." "Diana," I said calmly, "you might want to check those property records again. Carefully this time." "Don't threaten me, girl," she spat. "Your grandfather was a senile old man who didn't know what he was doing in his final years. The court will see it our way." Michael agrees with me completely. Of course he did. My husband had changed since his mother moved in with us last year. The kind, understanding man I married had become a puppet, dancing to Diana's every tune. When Grandpa passed, Michael hadn't even attended the funeral, claiming he had an important business meeting. "I'll be there tomorrow morning," I said firmly. "Don't touch anything in Grandpa's study." Her laugh was sharp and cruel. "The study's already been cleared out. All that outdated farming equipment and those worthless old maps are in the dumpster where they belong. We're modernizing this place, turning it into something actually profitable." My heart skipped a beat, but I forced myself to remain calm. Diana didn't know about the hidden bunker beneath the study, the one Grandpa had shown me that summer evening. The entrance was concealed behind an old filing cabinet, protected by a combination lock that only I knew how to open. "See you tomorrow, Diana," I said and hung up before she could respond. I immediately called my best friend Emma, who also happened to be a property lawyer. "They've done what?" she exclaimed after I explained the situation. "Olivia, that's impossible. I helped your grandfather update his will last year. The farm is legally yours." "Diana claims they filed a new deed," I said, pulling out the brass key from my jewelry box where I kept it safe. "She says Grandpa left everything to Michael." "That's fraud," Emma replied, and I could hear her typing furiously. "Give me an hour. I'll pull the records and see what they filed." While waiting for Emma's call back, I packed a small overnight bag. My hands brushed against the old leather-bound journal Grandpa had given me on my wedding day. Inside were detailed maps of the farm, including underground water sources and hidden storage spaces that had helped our family survive the Great Depression. Diana thought she knew everything about our land, but she had no idea what secrets it held. Grandpa had always said our farm was special, that it held treasures more valuable than gold. I'd assumed he meant the memories we created there, but now I wondered if there was more to his words. Emma called back just as I was loading my bag into the car. "Olivia, this is serious," she said. "They submitted documents claiming your grandfather was mentally incompetent when he wrote his last will. They're trying to invalidate it completely." I started the engine, a plan already forming in my mind. "Can you meet me at the farm tomorrow morning? Bring whatever legal documents you have." "I'll be there at 8, she promised. "Don't let them destroy anything else until I arrive." As I drove through the night, memories flooded back. Summer spent helping Grandpa in the fields, learning every inch of our land. The secret paths through the woods, the hidden springs, and most importantly, the underground bunker that had been our special secret. "One day, Liv," Grandpa had told me, "someone might try to take this land from you. When that happens, remember, the truth lies beneath the surface." I hadn't understood his words then, but now they made perfect sense. In that bunker were documents dating back to the farm's original purchase, maps showing hidden resources, and most importantly, proof that this land was meant to be mine. Diana thought she'd won, that she could bully and manipulate her way into stealing my inheritance. She had no idea that Grandpa had spent years preparing for this very situation. He'd known Diana's true nature long before any of us had seen it. As the city lights faded behind me and the familiar countryside stretched ahead, I felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about property or money. It was about preserving a legacy, protecting the land that had been in my family for generations. Tomorrow would change everything. Diana and Michael thought they held all the cards, but they didn't know about the ace I had up my sleeve. The hidden bunker contained something that would shatter their carefully constructed plan, something that would prove once and for all who this land really belonged to. The moon cast long shadows across the fields as I drove down the familiar country roads. In less than 12 hours, I would face off against my mother-in-law and the man I once thought I knew. But this time, I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for Grandpa's legacy, for the land he loved, and for the truth he trusted me to protect. The brass key felt warm in my pocket, a reminder that some things were worth fighting for. Diana had no idea what was coming, but by tomorrow evening, she'd learn that you don't mess with a farmer's granddaughter, especially one who knows where all the secrets are buried. The familiar gravel crunched under my tires as I pulled up to the farmhouse at dawn. The morning dew still clung to the grass, and the old oak tree cast long shadows across Grandpa's carefully tended garden. Everything looked the same, yet somehow different, like a photograph, slightly out of focus. Diana's pristine Mercedes was already parked in the driveway, looking completely out of place next to the weathered barn. As I stepped out of my car, the front door swung open. There she stood, perfectly coiffed even at this early hour, with Michael hovering behind her like a shadow. "You're trespassing," Diana called out, her voice carrying across the yard. "I'll call the police." I walked steadily toward them, my boots leaving prints in the dewy grass. "Go ahead," I replied calmly. "I'm sure they'd be very interested in the fraudulent documents you filed." Michael stepped forward, his face a mask of practiced concern. "Liv, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Dad's gone, and the farm needs proper management. Mom has connections. Your mother has delusions." I cut him off. "And you've forgotten who you are, Michael. This land raised you too." Diana's perfectly painted lips curled into a sneer. The study's locked. "Whatever you're looking for, you won't find it. We've been very thorough." "I bet you have," I thought, remembering the dumpsters she'd mentioned. But Diana didn't know about the hidden entrance behind the filing cabinet, or that the key in my pocket opened more than just one door. Emma's car pulled up just then, and Diana's expression faltered slightly at the sight of her legal briefcase. "Good. Let her worry." "Mrs. Henderson," Emma greeted Diana professionally, "I've brought copies of the original will and property deeds. We should discuss the serious legal implications of your recent actions." "This is private property," Diana started, but Emma cut her off. "This property belongs to Olivia Parker, as clearly stated in George Parker's last will and testament, which I personally witnessed. Your fraudulent claims won't hold up in court." While Emma kept them distracted in the kitchen with legal documents, I slipped away to Grandpa's study. The room had been ransacked, drawers pulled out, papers scattered everywhere. My heart ached seeing his beloved space treated with such disrespect. The old filing cabinet had been pushed aside, but not far enough to reveal the hidden door. I carefully moved it back into position, listening for the subtle click that meant it was perfectly aligned. Then, using the brass key and the combination Grandpa had taught me, his father's birthday, I opened the concealed entrance. The narrow staircase led down to the bunker, where the air was cool and smelled of earth and old paper. I flicked on my flashlight, and there it was, exactly as Grandpa had shown me. Metal filing cabinets lined the walls, each containing decades of farm records, original deeds, and most importantly, the evidence of what made this land truly special. I grabbed the specific folders Grandpa had pointed out last summer, along with a rolled-up survey map from 1943. Then I noticed something new, an envelope with my name on it, written in Grandpa's familiar shaky handwriting. Inside was a letter dated just weeks before his passing. "My dearest Liv, if you're reading this, then Diana has made her move sooner than we expected. In the bottom drawer of the third cabinet, you'll find documentation of the mineral rights survey conducted last year. The results will explain why she's so desperate to claim our land. Don't let her bully you, sweetheart. You're stronger than she knows. Love, Grandpa. My hands trembled as I opened the survey report. The technical language was complex, but the conclusion was clear. Significant deposits of rare earth minerals had been discovered beneath the northwestern section of our farm. The land Diana thought was worthless old farmland was sitting on a fortune. I gathered everything and hurried back upstairs, finding Emma still engaged in heated discussion with Diana and Michael in the kitchen. Diana was waving some document in Emma's face, her voice shrill with indignation. This medical evaluation clearly shows. Diana stopped mid-sentence when she saw me. Where have you been? I spread the documents across the kitchen table, watching Diana's face pale as she recognized the minerals survey report. Looking for these? I asked quietly. Is this why you were so eager to claim Grandpa's worthless farm? Michael stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the papers. What are those? Proof that your mother knew about the mineral deposits months ago, I said, meeting his gaze steadily. She's been planning this takeover since before Grandpa died. The medical evaluation she's waving around, the doctor's signature is dated after Grandpa's death. Care to explain that, Diana? Diana's composure cracked. You don't understand what's at stake here. That old fool was sitting on a gold mine and didn't even know it. He knew, I corrected her, pulling out more documents from the bunker. He knew everything. He just chose to protect the land instead of exploiting it, something you'd never understand. Emma was already photographing the fraudulent documents, her face grim. This is serious fraud, Mrs. Henderson. We're talking potential criminal charges. Diana's perfectly manicured hands began to shake. Michael, do something. But Michael was staring at the survey maps, recognition dawning in his eyes. The northern woods, that's where Dad taught me to fish. You were going to strip mine it? It's business. Diana snapped. Something you two sentimental fools clearly don't understand. I watched my husband's face as the truth sank in. For the first time in months, I saw a glimmer of the man I married, the one who used to love this land as much as I did. Get out, Michael said quietly, surprising us all. Mom, get out. Now. Diana's face contorted with rage. After everything I've done for you, everything you've done has been for yourself. He cut her off. Dad was right about you. Get out before we press charges. I stood there, documents spread across the kitchen table where I'd eaten countless meals with Grandpa, watching as Diana grabbed her designer purse and stormed out. The screen door slammed behind her, and her Mercedes peeled out of the driveway, leaving a cloud of dust in its wake. The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken words. Michael turned to me, his shoulders slumped. Liv, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I should have. I held up my hand, stopping him. We'll talk later. Right now, Emma needs to file these documents with the court and start proceedings to clear the fraudulent claims. As Emma gathered the papers, I walked to the window, looking out over the fields that had sustained my family for generations. The morning sun had burned away the dew, and the land stretched out green and alive in every direction. Grandpa had trusted me to protect it, and I had. But the battle wasn't over yet. The weeks following Diana's dramatic exit were filled with legal proceedings and difficult conversations. Emma worked tirelessly to clear the fraudulent claims, while Michael and I began the painful process of rebuilding trust. One evening, as the sun set over the cornfields, we sat on the front porch swing, just like Grandpa used to do. The familiar creaking of the chains filled the silence between us. I found more letters, I said quietly, pulling out a stack of weathered envelopes from my pocket. Grandpa wrote them over the years, documenting everything Diana tried to do to get control of the farm. Michael took them with trembling hands. He knew. All this time. He knew she was playing a long game, I replied, watching his face as he read. That's why he prepared everything so carefully. He wasn't just protecting the land from her. He was protecting us too. The letters revealed a pattern of manipulation spanning years. Diana had tried multiple times to convince Grandpa to sell, each offer more aggressive than the last. But he'd stood firm, knowing the true value wasn't just in the minerals beneath the soil, but in the legacy the land represented. I've been such a fool, Michael whispered, his voice thick with emotion. All those business meetings she arranged, the investment opportunities she pushed, it was all about getting control of the farm. I placed my hand over his. You wanted to believe in her. That's not foolish, it's human. The screen door creaked open, and Emma stepped out, holding a stack of papers. "It's done," she announced with a satisfied smile. "The fraudulent claims have been completely dismissed, and I've filed restraining orders against Diana. She can't come within 500 feet of the property." Relief washed over me. "Thank you, Emma, for everything." "Don't thank me yet," she grinned. "Wait until you see what else I found in those old records. Your grandfather wasn't just protecting the land, he set up a conservation easement. The mineral rights can never be exploited. This farm will always be exactly what it is, a farm." Michael let out a surprised laugh. He really did think of everything. That he did, I agreed, thinking of the bunker and its carefully preserved documents. He knew this land's real value isn't in what's beneath it, but what grows on it. Over the next few months, Michael and I worked to restore what Diana had tried to destroy. We replanted Grandpa's vegetable garden, repaired the old barn, and slowly found our way back to each other. The farm became our healing ground, just as it had been for generations before us. Diana made one last attempt to challenge the will, but her case crumbled when her fraudulent activities came to light. The last we heard, she'd moved to Florida, as far from our fertile Illinois soil as she could get. 1 year after that tumultuous morning in the kitchen, I stood under the old oak tree, holding a small brass key. It was time to add my own documents to the bunker, continuing the tradition of protecting our legacy. Michael joined me, carrying our newborn daughter, Grace. "Should we show her?" he asked, nodding toward the hidden entrance. I smiled, watching our daughter's eyes track the dancing leaves above. "Not yet. But someday, when she's ready, we'll tell her everything. About her great-grandfather's wisdom, about the land that's been in our family for generations, and about how love for this place is stronger than any amount of greed." Emma visited often, bringing her legal expertise and genuine love for the farm. Together, we established a trust to ensure the land would always remain agricultural, protecting it for future generations. As I watched Grace take her first wobbly steps across the same grass I played on as a child, I think about Grandpa's final gift. It wasn't just the land or the hidden bunker with its crucial documents. It was the lesson he taught me about standing firm in the face of adversity, about protecting what matters most. The farm continues to thrive, producing crops that feed our community. The northern woods where Michael learned to fish remain untouched, a sanctuary for wildlife and family memories alike. Sometimes, when the evening light hits the fields just right, I swear I can see Grandpa standing there, smiling at what his legacy has become. Diana thought she could steal our land by exploiting its hidden wealth. What she never understood was that the real treasure was never the minerals beneath the soil. It was the soil itself, the memories it holds, and the future it promises to those who love it enough to protect it. As for Michael and me, we've learned that some bonds, like the roots that run deep beneath our fields, grow stronger when tested. We're not just farmers now. We're guardians of a legacy that will continue long after we're gone, preserved in the hidden bunker and in the hearts of those who call this land home. Grace's laughter echoes across the fields as she chases butterflies through Grandpa's garden, and I know with absolute certainty that we did the right thing. This is where we belong, and no amount of greed or manipulation can ever change that. The brass key hangs on a hook by the door now, a reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come not from fighting, but from standing firm in what you know is right. Just as Grandpa always said, the truth lies beneath the surface, in the soil, in the soul, and in the heart of those who love this land enough to protect it.